Great to have you back today on Set Sail with Grace Harbor. Welcome. If this is your first time here, we're reading through the Bible chronologically in a year, and we'd love to have you just jump right in if this is your first day here. Today we're going through Leviticus 14 through 15, and if I didn't mention it, today is February the 16th. Man, I am the most fortunate guy in the world. Lucky me. I get to bring you insights on everybody's favorite topics. Cleansing lepers, home demo and renovation, and best of all, bodily discharges. I know you're excited. These were serious enough for God to speak about and for Moses to record them, so we shouldn't take them lightly. However, it is important for us to remember these laws were established and it resulted from the covenant that God made with his people. And he set apart the nation of Israel. It's not a prescription on how we're required to live today, but it was very important for them to observe these things in their day. For most of these topics that we're talking about today, I'd recommend medical treatment or a good contractor, especially if these things turned out to be problematic. Now today, the good news is there's hope for the lepers, because unlike yesterday where we saw all the ways that the priests would go through and examine and determine if someone was a leper or not, here we see all the ways that the people are re-examined in order to be reestablished into the community again, and what determines whether they're now clean or not clean. In 1433, we see that it deals with the cleanliness of a home. And no, this isn't referring to getting the good housekeeping seal of approval. It's to ensure that the unclean state does not persist in the house, thus defiling those who are living there. We read about this part of the text, and the first thing that I thought was they had to deal with mold problems back then too. But on closer inspection, it really seems to be dealing with the houses that they'll possess after they enter the land of Canaan. God said he would drive the people out, and pestilence was one of the things that he would send before them to drive the people out. So they'll occupy homes built by someone else, and it's possible that whatever the pestilence was might be remaining in the home. Therefore, these laws were put into place for the priest to go in to determine whether it was a safe place to occupy or if it needed to be destroyed. Leprosy apparently was not confined to humans itself, but it could be in plaster walls. It could be all kinds of subject of diseases harboring themselves in a home. So when we talk about leprosy, it may be more encompassing than even what we're thinking of today, but that is what they dealt with in their day. Okay, I'm going to say it. Chapter 15 is just a disgusting chapter to me. But we humans are just messy people. This is about all the bodily fluids and secretions and things that we humans have. It's almost impossible not to get images in your mind that you cannot unsee when you read about this. And I'll leave it there. If you skip this chapter, however, and a lot of people do, there's a purpose that God put it in here. And so we're going to try to focus on what that might be. But all this is leading up to the main focal point of Leviticus, which encompasses this last chapter as well. And that comes up in chapter 19, just a couple days from now. But the pinnacle point of all these laws goes beyond what is clean and what is not clean. It really hinges on God's holiness. They simply could not approach God to worship him in an unclean state because he wouldn't allow them to defile themselves physically to be unclean in that condition and to worship him. The penalty for coming to God in an unclean state resulted in death. And the fact, beginning tomorrow, we'll see how God establishes a new statute for them to follow forever in the Day of Atonement. The high priest will appear once a year and atone for the sins of the nation. But that's tomorrow. I don't know if the old adage, cleanliness is next to godliness, is true or not. What I do know is cleanliness is a condition for holiness. Since the Bible in various places throughout Scripture calls us to be holy, we should examine ourselves and deal with those things that keep us in an unclean state. Thanks to Jesus, we're free from all of these laws as they were given to the children of Israel. But he still desires for us to live clean and righteous lives and to become more like him. So contemplate that today and be prepared for what we're going to enter in tomorrow in the Day of Atonement. Don't miss it. It'll be well worth your wait. See you tomorrow, people. Bye-bye.